Hey everyone, welcome back to an extra episode of Book Nook Brews, in which this one we are talking, or talking about the Martian movie and comparing it to the book we read for the month of June, The Martian by Andy Weir. We just essentially finished it.
Yeah.
And we have thoughts.
Initial thoughts. Like she said, this is an extra episode, so it might not be as long as the other ones, but that way we also ensure you guys have an episode on our week off.
Break.
So we'll have a week off in this month, but it'll be like we aren't actually on break because you guys will still get an episode of the current book that we are reading, which is What the River Knows by
Isabel
Ibañez, right? Something like that.
Ibañez.
But yeah. So initial thoughts of the Martian movie. I like it. I really like it. If I'm giving it like a rating out of 5 for a movie, probably a 4.6, maybe 4.8. Probably 4.6. 4.8 is too close to a perfect movie, and I don't think it was perfect. But yeah, initial rating probably like a 4.5, 4.6.
I think I'm sticking in with how my rating of the book was, which was like a 4.2.
Okay. I think mine was a 4.6 now for the book.
I think so.
Right. Yeah. So that makes sense. I think the internet lied to me. I kept reading it was 95% accurate to the book. I'd say it's more so 90%.
Yeah.
85, 90%.
I say once they got the plan for the rich Pernal maneuver, everything after that is nothing like the book.
I wouldn't say nothing.
Well,
it was changed up.
Yes, changed up. But
the events that happened in the book, but they happened differently in the movie.
And then some were left out.
Yes. So I guess we can start talking about that. First off, the biggest, I think, thing I have with the movie, biggest complaint and biggest issue, he never asked about his cubs once.
I know. I kept on saying, I'm like, is this the Cubs? Is this the Cubs? And no.
But no, and I will give it to them. They kept his quips and his, I guess, reactions to things and stuff like that the same. You could tell. I think Matt Damon did a really good job at capturing that and how it was supposed to be done. But I feel like they left out most of his
humor.
But not humor. I think it was there, but most of his bigger quips, like bigger.
I feel like for me, a lot of his personality was kind of lost in the movie. Like, it's just, you can see parts of him, but I didn't feel as attached to his character the way I did with the book. For me. Like, sure, there were parts where, we got to see his humor, and it's just, I don't know. I just felt like he didn't really communicate that much with us. Like, and it shouldn't be, because it is a movie. It's a different kind of storytelling. Mm-hmm. It just, for me, he felt a little bit more at an arm's length compared to the book. For me.
Okay. For me, no. For me, I thought that was done well with what they had from the book, but they did leave out some of his jokes, some of the stuff that you look forward to. Like, for me, the humor was there, but like I said, they left out some of the major jokes. Now, like the Chicago Cubs one wasn't a major joke, but it was
it was like brought up like twice.
Yeah. And then they left out the whole storm that he went through on his way to Schiaparelli.
They left out 3 parts from the ending. The first one being that he lost connection with NASA. 2, the storm, and then 3, that his rover tipped.
Yeah, at the crater.
Mm-hmm.
He made it from the Hab, Hab, right, with a B.
Yeah.
Hab. He made it from the Hab to Schiaparelli crater with basically no issues.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get. I don't think they should have skipped over it entirely. They could have done it kind of short,
Yeah.
but not skip over it entirely, because it did add kind of suspense to the fact that he might have not have made it to the crater or whatever. He did lose connection to NASA in the book. He did not hear in the movie. They were talking the whole time. But I mean, I guess it was to save time in the movie, but it was just a big event in the book that they kind of got rid of.
Because for me, I think the ending really built up, especially to the moment where he essentially is shot up out of like Mars atmosphere to space.
Yeah.
So all of these little big events, it's building up to the major one.
Yeah.
And so it keeps you like this, like at least it keeps you tense. There we go. It keeps you tense.
Yeah.
While I feel like in the movie, you just see him like going smooth sailing and then having to gasp for like kind of tense up for the launch.
Yeah. Like I feel like the storm that they had in the beginning, like literally the beginning of the movie where he got left on Mars, that's how it should have been at some point, even if it was for like 5 minutes there to add, because even the beginning had you, like we knew what was going to happen, but we're like, oh shit, that's a big ass storm. Like,
yeah.
And like they made it look as serious as it should have been, which was great. But that same thing had to happen on the way there, because it was kind of like he had all these issues at the Hab. They did that well. But then on his way to the crater, it was smooth sailing. Like, no, it was not.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing they left out, Mindy Park did it. See, it's like, you know how she talked back to NASA almost?
Yeah, to Kapoor.
Like, hey, this to
Vincent
Kapoor,
Kapoor.
yeah. Basically saying, hey, I have my degree. I don't need to be a glorified peeping Tom for Mark Watney. And in here, she looked like she enjoyed it. Like she was like helping out, you know, and like there was not a single time where it was like.
There was no moment where she was anything more than just a 2-dimensional character of like, all right, let's get this done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. She was a very, very much a side character here. And I feel like there was even times where they didn't even really depend on her for the communication. Where
like
in the
Vincent
book,
Kapoor,
everything was through her.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of this, it was more so focused on Vincent Kapoor doing a lot of it, which he did do. But like Mindy Park was also a big part of keeping tabs on Watney.
Yeah.
And man, especially like when they lost communication and he's like, yeah, it tipped over. And he's like, well, how is his health? I'm like, sorry, he didn't really write more. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, you know, I just kept that a secret, you know? He's like, keep talking back. Like,
and then I guess on that topic at the end, Commander Lewis, her comment back to Watney where he was like, yeah, I'm just going to punch a hole in my suit, become Iron Man. And he's like, what if we go with my plan? And Commander Lewis was like, oh, wait, hang on a second. Yeah, I looked over on my shoulder. It looks like it still says I'm the commander. So we're not going with that plan. Yeah. Here they just completely, she was like, I should have left him on Mars. Which, you know, it was a witty comeback like there, but I would have liked to hear that specific line.
Yes.
There.
I was waiting for it. I was like, please, please. And I'm like, oh.
Now, I will say one thing that I did like about the movie was the way the ending was done.
Yes.
I feel like him still doing his both plans were in action. He did his Iron Man thing. They did the whole tether thing. Now, for those that haven't seen the movie, you know, obviously all this is spoiler, whatever, right? So we're just talking freely about it. In the movie, it was not Beck who went out for Watney. it was Commander Lewis herself because she felt responsible for it. I feel like that whole time she planned it out for Beck until that moment, because otherwise it would have been against it. So she goes out to get him, and then obviously there is difficulties with that, not going to reach him on time, which also wasn't like the book, because Beck went straight into the ship that he was in
and grabbed him.
Which,
by the way, there was another funny moment that was not in the book, but was in the movie, where they're like, we're still 300 and like, let's say 300 kilometers away. And he's like, 300? Did he say 300? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, so I'll just wave past while you guys pass me.
Yeah, I'll just wave past you guys while I fly away. But so yeah, Commander Lewis goes and grabs him, basically meets him halfway, because unlike the book, here they don't reach him at all. Mm-hmm. So Watney says, yeah, hang on, give me a second, and punctures his suit and goes out flying like Iron Man, just like he said. Meets her there, almost misses. Almost. That was insane. But I feel like that was better done for the movie than what was done in the book, because that was more suspenseful watching it. And it was also a twist because we knew what would happen, right? But then for them to be changing it up like that out of nowhere, it kept us on the edge of our seat, because it was like, it's probably still going to be the same ending, but the way that they're doing it is giving me more pressure.
For a moment, we thought we were going to lose either Commander Lewis or Beck.
Yeah, because they kept showing Beck, like, they kept showing him doing some sus things outside, and he's like almost slipping from a pole or barely grabbing anything, and it's like, So they kept building it up as if they were going to do something, but I enjoyed the way that they did that. And then another thing that I enjoyed about ending, the little time jump that they did, like we talked about, in that we wanted from the book, we got in the movie.
Yes.
So Watney becomes a teacher. So first off, we're back on Earth. There they actually showed them back on Earth. Watney becomes a professor, I should say, for astronaut.
In NASA, getting him like prepared.
What was the word he used? Astronaut. What's the word when you're like aspiring to be? I guess aspiring astronauts.
Yeah, aspiring astronauts.
It was an I word he used. Not inductees. I don't know. But aspiring astronauts. They're already at NASA. But he's there to teach him about everything that could possibly go
Survivals,
wrong.
essentially.
So he becomes a professor. Beck and Johansson are together, having a baby.
Which I found very funny, because when they were showing like what essentially the characters are doing now. Yeah. Aries 4. Yeah. Was going up into space. Mm-hmm. And Johansson and Beck are essentially in the hospital after she had just given birth. And Beck comes over to her with the baby, and she's like, kind of acknowledges the baby, but goes back to watching the TV and looking at the launch like, yeah. One moment.
So Beck and Johansson have a baby. The only astronaut that stayed was the pilot, Martinez. Yes. He is still the pilot for the Ares 5, which had the Chinese astronaut in it due to the deal that they had for using their propeller. The Taiyang thruster, whatever. I don't know what their engine for the
supplies.
For the final maneuver. So Martinez is still a pilot. Johansson Beck have a baby. Watney's a professor. Commander Lewis is just back home, I guess, retired. Yeah.
Vogel is back with his family.
Vogel is back with his family. Mitch is retired, resigned from NASA, was shown playing golf. And then
it looks like Mindy Park did get a promotion because she now had like the comms, the microphones communicating as they were preparing for this launch. So the girl got her promotion.
Yeah. I think that was it, right?
For how it ended, yes. I'll be honest, for me personally, I kind of wish they kept it to the way it ended in the book. Personally, for me, I think I would have preferred having it be Beck.
Okay.
But then again, he did have more of a, I guess, a closer like relationship, platonic of course, like with like Commander Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess I just don't understand why switching it up.
To
In my
me-
opinion,
To me, in the book, it didn't make sense for Beck to go. Like, to me, it seemed like it was like a role that they gave him. Like, what they did in the movie made sense to me because it was Commander Lewis who felt at fault for leaving him. So it was like she took it upon herself to go get him.
I guess I can see at that point. I guess just personally for me, I think
Yeah.
I like, sure, if you're gonna change how they're gonna rescue him, like at least like them not being able to reach him on all of that, I understand. I think personally I still would have wanted to just keep in line with the book. It just didn't make sense for me, but I understand your point of it creating more suspense for the movie. I think if, like, had we had like the dust storm and everything, we would have had that suspension in
Sure.
place already leading up to this launch,
Yeah.
which at least they did keep. He's like, are you fucking serious? You guys are sending me up in a tarp
Yeah.
in a convertible?
And they made it look worse than, like you said when we saw it, it was worse than we thought.
Yeah,
It looked like.
that was so bad.
Bad in a good way. Like, they showed it well. Like how it was literally just a piece of metal around tarp. Or a tarp around a piece of metal. And it looked
NASA,
really bad.
sweetheart, not your best idea. Not your best idea. But I guess it got him up there,
Yeah.
so something's got to give. But
Yeah.
jeez, that was just like...
But I think overall, the movie was great. Really good movie. I felt like it did a good job keeping you in. It took away most of the science talk that would normally keep
I was
people
going to
out.
mention that.
Yeah.
There was not a lot of science talk, which, oddly enough, I think I would have wanted just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning. Because a lot of that is how Watney kind of started to, in a way, almost cope with like making his survival skills kick in.
Yeah.
And so I think I would have liked more science talk at the beginning from him as he's doing everything. Personally, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot to the point that it was in the book, but a decent enough to where you can kind of see his engineering part of him being put into play.
Yeah.
So I think I would have enjoyed that a little bit more, personally. Seeing him do his potato farm was excellent.
Yeah. And then the implosion that killed his potato farm.
Oh my God.
Which reminds me, he never said he was tired of potatoes.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to say, I'm like, are you tired of potatoes?
Yeah, it seemed like he was pretty tired, and then he also explained that he was out of ketchup, and he's like, I gotta dip these in something because these are pretty plain. But so you could tell he was getting tired of it, but he never
vocally said
it. Yeah, and he was still eating a potato in the Rover at the end when he left his note.
Which is crazy because his last meal was going to be like one of the prepackaged meals, not a potato, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but it looks like he had it prepackaged here because he had it written on there, goodbye, Mark. So I don't know if he prepackaged. I don't think we saw. No, we did. We saw him prepackage those. Yeah. Overall, I think it was a 4.6 out of 5 movie.
Mm-hmm.
For being out of 5 for being close to the book, what would you give it?
For being close to the book, I think I'll stick with like the 4.2. So it's a 4.2 kind of movie, and it's a 4.2 in how much it is similar to the book as well. The adaptation is very great.
Adaptation, that's the word.
Yeah.
Compared to the
It's very similar. like honestly pretty much to the T of how the book was. The only thing is just that last bit of the book was not in the movie to the full extent per se. And so for me, that's what brings it down to like a 4.2. Yeah. It's an enjoyable movie and it was an enjoyable book. What I enjoyed about this, it helped me visualize a lot of things. Yeah. Sometimes CGI, could you say, the graphics weren't. I always a 2015 movie. Yeah. Not too I think far it was away.
Good for a 2015 one.
Yeah, it's good. Now I'm curious because they did say that they're making his other book into a movie, which again is still in space, called the Hail Mary Project. I'm curious to see how that's gonna look in a film and compare it to this one.
Also depend on their budget.
True. So. But I mean, for this, it's not that bad. Also, one more thing I wanted to mention is the tether. I don't know why I didn't imagine her being in a seat.
Beck wasn't in a seat in the book.
I guess it makes sense to have like the little airs to like push you in the direction that you want, but I just did not imagine that. I just thought it was just a rope.
Yeah, she looked like Professor X from from the X-Men with a jetpack instead of.
That looked funny. Like that's where I'm like,
yeah, that looked weird. I like in the book, it was literally just Beck jumping out.
Yes.
Towards it with the tether onto him. But yeah, I think overall,
compared to like other things I've seen, like other books or movie adaptations of books I've seen in the past, this is one of the better ones. Yeah. This is truly one of the better ones because it stuck to a lot of what the book has, with the exception of the end of the book.
Yeah, so, which I feel like it needed not the ending. Like it needed to have stuff cut out of it to be able to add that time jump at the end.
I see that.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't that long, but at the same time, they needed to cut something out, right? I mean, they could have done a 3-hour movie if they wanted to, but I don't know who would stick around for 3 hours.
You would.
I would, but like for normal people, I don't think they would do that. I prefer 3-hour movies, but yeah, overall, I think it was also a 4.5, 4.6 compared to the book as well. So I think we're both in the same boat of our movie rating is also the adaptation rating.
Which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Because I did not think it would. Well, I thought we'd have a little bit more like
disappointment.
Some sort of disappointment because I feel like usually movies
mess it up. Like they try to really overdo it with the drama, and at least here the drama they brought it at the very end, which I understand. Another thing, they had like people from all over the world paying attention to this, like clips of like London, China. Well, they had that in the book too.
Did they?
Yeah. They started with them describing Times Square, but then it was like people all over the world were tuning in.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they described the certain locations, but they did mention that the entire world kind of like.
I remember them mentioning that everyone people all over the world were paying attention to it.
Yeah.
But I guess I was like, oh, interesting. They're showing like people at Times Square, where certain parts of London and China just paying attention to a big screen with a big crowd, waiting to see if NASA will get Mark Watney back.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the interactions with the crew members between them as well with Watney. Like I felt like that stuck true to how the book was.
Yeah.
So much. It was so nice. Seeing Martinez and Watney kind of joke around too.
Bicker. Yeah.
It's like, we don't miss you. We have a lot more space here. It's been very nice.
Yeah.
But now we have to take turns doing your botany thing, which is not even a real science.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And I think they picked the right guy to play Martinez too. That's exactly what I envisioned.
Yes, I also imagined
Michael Peña.
I like literally to the T.
Yeah.
To be him, he does such a great job.
I think they did well with the casting overall.
Yes,
and I'm also happy that it was like 90% Marvel characters in here.
Was it?
Yeah, they had. Well, Beck was played by Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky. What was his name in this movie? Benedict Wong, who plays.
Yes.
Yeah. He plays Wong, obviously, in Doctor Strange. Then there was Michael Peña, who was an Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how could I forget that?
Then there was Kapoor. He was Mordo from Doctor Strange. Yeah.
That's who he was?
Yeah, he's Mordo.
Oh, my gosh. I feel so stupid now.
Who else was there? I guess we could count Donald Glover. He was in Spider-Man.
For him to be Rich Pernell, I love it.
Yeah.
That was great.
Who else was in Marvel?
That's a good chunk of the cast. Jeez.
Yeah. They basically borrowed from Marvel in 2015.
They're like, hey, can we just take your character?
While you guys are busy filming Avengers 3 real quick, could we just take a break and let me film The Martian? But I felt like it was very funny that they still did the Iron Man maneuver that Watney wanted to do, while Beck, who was played by Sebastian Stan, was looking on and just laughing. Well, I felt like that was also like a, I'm working at a different movie and I'm still looking at this shit.
True.
But yeah, and then Commander Lewis, she is the main character one of the main characters in Interstellar.
I feel like I've seen her somewhere.
Jessica Chastain, she is pretty popular. I believe she's... No, I'm not even going to try to guess. But I've heard her name.
Let me check real quick.
She's in a lot of movies.
Yes, I was going to say So yeah, she's in Interstellar.
Yep.
Ice Game.
She plays
It Chapter 2.
Yes.
Oh.
She plays the girl with the cast. Or no, not with the cast. The one that does the whole she's lovers or losers, whatever.
She's in It.
Yeah.
Darn, I could have sworn I've seen her in something else, and I guess not. I guess those are the movies I've seen her at. Interesting. I
think she's in.
She looks close.
Else,
she looks very similar to someone else. I think that's what's tricking me.
Who, the actress from Enchanted?
Not quite her. I think she looks like the one from the Jurassic Park movie, the new one.
Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes. I don't know if it's just the hair. It might just literally be that. But yeah, that's who she reminds me of, and maybe that's why I thought interesting. Okay, well, she's not who I thought she was. So what?
Yeah,
she was really good though. For a Commander Lewis, she was really good.
Yeah, she plays Matthew McConaughey's daughter in Interstellar. So, but she's like in 80% of the movie. So she's a pretty main character, even though Matthew McConaughey is the book.
That's the movie that we need to see, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much to see.
But yeah, so The Martian I was happy with. I didn't really have many complaints. It was just as good as the book, even though it was different. I think they were just as good, which is a good thing. It meant the adaptation was well done.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. Like I've said, it's one of the better movies that has been adapted from a book.
Yeah.
It stuck a lot to what the book has, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was nice to visualize its like actual like in person than what I just have in my mind, because a lot of it is kind of just a little bit of a blur because you can't like fully see it. But that puts it into perspective, especially like the launch and the tarp and everything. And it's like, yikes, that was worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess overall, we're happy with the movie, happy with the book. Both really good. Recommend both.
Yeah.
And I guess that marks the end of our little Martian segment.
Yeah, that this is a formal goodbye to the Martian
Yeah.
until potentially the next book, The Hail Mary Project.
Yeah.
Who knows? That might be a potential book that we'll read along the line because I really like his work.
Yeah.
Pretty good so far.
So, yeah. And I guess we'll see you guys next week for the beginning of What the River Knows.
By Isabel Ibañez.
Ibañez.
And that'll be from the prologue prologue to chapter 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll see you guys then. And then I guess in that chapter or in that episode, we'll also discuss how the episodes are going to work again. Just kind of like a recap for those tuning in for that first one. But we just wanted to throw this episode in real quick just to kind of review the movie as well and then have that extra episode in there for y'all. But yeah, I guess we'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
See y'all.